right, I'm currently on the line with the guys of Last Shot of Redemption. I'm going to go ahead and give them each a chance to introduce themselves.
Hello, I am Chris. I sing for Last Shot Redemption as well as play guitar.
Hi, my name's Blaine, pronouns they, them. I am the lead guitarist of Last Shot at Redemption, sometimes.
All right. And is it just the two of you today?
Yeah, it's just the two of us.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So with these interviews, obviously, I always want to try to figure out how somebody got into music. So why don't each of you take a turn kind of describing when you first encountered music? What about it do you think kind of held power over you to make you want to pursue a life with music?
All right, I'll start it off. So for me, it actually it's some of my earliest memories of my life. You know, going all the way back to 1997. At the time, the Fleetwood Mac live album, The Dance, had just come out, and I would listen to that record on repeat because I was so enamored with Mick Fleetwood's drumming that I would literally grab like Tinker Toys or whatever I could use as drumsticks, and I would essentially smack the crap out of my parents' and my grandparents' furniture playing along. But that was where I got my start. Through that, and you know, it's essentially still serves as my personal inspiration to this day.
Yeah, I think my first real encounter, I grew up in the church, and I remember going in and seeing all these people playing guitar and being like, well, how the heck do you do that? And then eventually, like, mom gave me like a first act guitar, which funny enough, I still have that thing somewhere around here. And I remember trying it out, and just nothing would ever come out like what I wanted it to be. Just like hitting the strings randomly and just getting this god awful noise. And it not sounding like anything that I wanted it to. But like, I was growing up around the time that Green Day's American Idiot came out, and Nickelback's I think it was All the Right Reasons, which absolutely Chris is over here laughing at that. Absolutely loved that album, and remember listening to that in the car when I was little. And I think that was like really my first experience with rock music. And then something just completely changed when I heard AC/DC's TNT. And I was like, what the heck is this? Is completely different than anything I'd ever heard. And that was it. And it was like, hey, I want to do something like that. I want to be Angus Young.
Okay, so both of you kind of expressed that you had a lot of kind of contemporary influences on the way that you looked at music. How do you feel that you actually kind of applied that knowledge once you kind of figured out that it was something you wanted to pursue? So what I mean by that is, how did you select the specific instruments that you felt you gravitated towards? And then what were your first learning curves? Did you kind of just pick the songs that you wanted to learn and then start learning those ones, or did you take private lessons, that sort of thing?
So when it comes to drums, which is, you know, still my main instrument, 25 years and going strong, you know, for me, it came down to really being into, you know, learning the technique and learning the actual, you know, approach that caused, you know, that sort of inspired a lot of my favorite drummers now. So actually, you know, taking the time to learn all the fun, you know, paradiddles and paradiddle-diddles and, you know, so on and so forth. Whereas, you know, for any of my singing or guitar playing stuff, it comes down to being a songwriter since I was 10, you know, so going on 20 years at this point. You know, I hear things in my head and I have to get it out, and, you know, I want things to sound a certain way. So I've gone out of my ways to teach myself how to play guitar and how to, you know, sing/scream without hurting myself. And that's, you know, that at least that's how it is for me.
Sure. All right.
Yeah, I think for me, in sixth grade, I tried some like group lessons, and that was like my first real experience with playing guitar. And at that point in time, I would say that my influences weren't really there. So I wasn't listening to a whole lot of like guitar based music. So I didn't really know what to really go for. And I remember we had this like goofy recital where they had us play songs, and I played, I think it was Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones. And I thought, oh, well, the devil's in there. So, I mean, that's pretty heavy metal right there. So let's try that. And I'm pretty sure it just came out sounding like, duh, 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 duh. And I had honestly never heard the song at that point in time. So I didn't know what I was trying to do. They just handed me the tabs and I tried it. But yeah, from there, went on to take some other private lessons, and that's where things really started to solidify for me. And of course, I was playing like Rock Band games and Guitar Hero, and that kind of helped me further solidify, oh, I actually want to play guitar and not just, oh, I want to play bass or something like that. I cannot play drums. I have tried to teach myself a million times, and I just it's too many things going on for me that I can't make it happen. So
Sure.
maybe someday.
All right. So tell me a little bit about how you guys came together. I assume, Christopher, since you kind of have a wider breadth of instruments that you play, this is kind of your baby, and you're the vocalist, so you're kind of the front man here. Is it you kind of writing and producing a lot of the songs, and then having a guitarist come in to complete that, or what's that dynamic here?
You hit the nail right on the head, basically. So it's funny enough that the name Last Shot at Redemption actually goes all the way back to when I was in college back in 2012. I had started working on some demos that started to morph into an unfinished rock opera. Because, when you're 19, 20 years old, you start really going through a pretentious phase, especially at a music school. And, I started forming this story called Last Shot Redemption. But, as I was trying to continue my studies, the focus on that kind of went away for a while until the pandemic happened. And I finally started revisiting a couple of those demos and started revisiting just some of the feelings that I was having at that time. And yeah, basically how I got through lockdown and the protests, the riots, everything that was horrible about 2020. I cranked out an entire album with some leftover tracks as demos, and then basically spent 2021 trying to put a band together to record the record and start playing it live. And Blaine happened to be the second guitarist that I came across, where it was a case of our personalities really getting along well. And even though like they and I could not have more different backgrounds, but that's cool because same thing with our original lead guitar player who we found at first, and then he moved to New Mexico, back in 2022. So yeah, Breaking Bad land. So it was one of those things where obviously they had to step up and take over the lead guitar parts, and I had to fully commit to playing the rhythm, which now we're at a place where everything's fine and it worked out, but it was a struggle for a little while for me to fully adjust. I'm not going to pretend it wasn't.
And then Blaine, from your perspective, tell me how it came together for you.
Yeah, I think it was like August of like 2021. I got this very professional like text message / email thing through, I think it was like Band Mix or something like that from Chris, and yeah, it's just like, oh, well, this is impressive, because usually the majority of the people on there would just message me and be like, you want to join a band, I need this, and then like nothing else. Um and Yeah, I was looking for a band at the time. I had only been in like two like secular bands at that point in time, and both of them had completely dissolved. One of them we played a singular show, and then everybody disappeared off the face of the earth. So it was uh, very exciting to hear about Last Shot at that point in time. And funny enough, I actually applied as a keyboard player, which is funny because I can't play keyboard at all. And the reason why I had that on my like band mix is because I hit a moment during the pandemic where I was like, this is it. I'm gonna learn how to play piano. And I think the extent of that was I was able to play like "The Scientist" by Coldplay, and that's it. There's a very bad video of me playing that and trying to sing to it on my Instagram somewhere.
Well,
But yeah,
it's a rite of passage to experience the average band
yes,
scenario where everybody just
exactly.
disappears after a show. That's very normal. So for both of you, tell me a bit about where this is going for you. Obviously, now you have material ready to start doing shows, and you guys are out there looking for events to play and everything. Tell me what's on your calendar. Where do you see this going? What's the plan?
So the plan, personally speaking, for me anyway, I did get to experience a little bit of, the quote unquote rock and roll lifestyle, back in high school with my band, where, we did play shows all the time, and, did do a little, a little too much partying, but, it is what it is. But for me, what I really loved was the travel aspect. I loved going to shows. I loved putting on performances for people and being able to win over crowds that had not heard my music before. But the fact that I was able to, and the fact that I'm still able now with thankfully even better songs, because I've always had the philosophy of I can always do better, and that, and I want to improve as a performer, as a songwriter, as a lyricist, and that's kind of just what I wanted. What I want for this band is to start really going around and see what happens, because I know that I have them. I know I have strong enough material to have it be at the starting point. That's just me, though.
Sure. And Blaine, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is I've always loved being up on stage and performing, and I see that being a thing in our future a little bit more than it has been in our past. At this point in time, we're currently looking for a new drummer. So that's like the next thing on our docket, besides putting out our first album, which I believe is called Perspective. Is that right? Okay, Chris is nodding at me. So, and we recorded that a little while back, but we're pretty close to being done with that. And then I think we have a show coming up at the end of, I believe it's October, if I remember correctly. So, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing there. I think it was Bill Hicks who said, life's about sharing and creating, and that's how I feel about everything. So really, there's nothing like going up on stage and playing for other people, and then hearing what anybody else has to put up there as well with the other bands that we've done shows with in the past. And also with like touring and whatnot, that's not something that I've ever had an experience with. So that's something that I'm genuinely hoping to get to experience sometime soon. Yeah.
All right. Well, so you mentioned that you do have some shows coming up and you have material ready to go. Where can people find you and follow up with you and keep up to date with what you got going on?
Yeah, you can find us on all of your favorite streaming platforms. Even better, the ones that are a little more ethical with how they treat their artists. And you can find us on Instagram and Blue Sky at Last Shot MN.
All right, great. So I always like to give the people I'm interviewing the opportunity to put out their last word. So what's a message that each of you have that you want to share with somebody else?
There is always room in this world for people who care. And right now we are in times where it feels like people don't care at all, which, yes, is a little pun based on one of our more popular songs. But, there's some truth to that. And for your listeners, I do want you all to know you can choose to care. And we hope that you do.
Yeah, I love that. I would say one thing is like always be open to learn different things, and never assume that you're at a point in time where you know everything, because there's more time, there's more things to learn, and always be open to it, and never be ashamed to look out and reach out to people, ask questions, and hone your skill, but be humble about it at the same exact time. I think it's Randy Rhoads, who one of my favorite guitar players of all time, which I'm sure that's a mutual feeling for a lot of people. But it's always supposed to be more important to have a love for your instrument or your craft than it is to have this want to be a rock star and be all about yourself. So, yeah.